inside these doors, the red hot Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. I tell you what, I've seen some good fighters come out of this city over the years. This fella might be the brightest prospect of them all. He's making his UFC debut on September the 4th, and it's going to be something a little bit special. Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, welcome to BT Sport, welcome to the UFC. Thank you for having us here on what is exactly home turf.
Yeah, it is, of course. As you know, I'm as loyal as they come, lad. Always have been, always will be. I've had one head coach through my whole career, and his name's Paul Rimmer. Other people have tried to take that tag in the past, but Paul's the only one. I've never trained in a different MMA gym, ever. I came here, well, not here specifically. We was in the 051 building, started training there, and then it just spiraled, know what I mean? I started doing it because I like the UFC and I watched it and I got into it, and then I started training, and a few months in I done my first grappling comp. Then 15 months in I got offered a fight on a week's notice. I took it, won, and then I put a post on Cage Warriors forum saying I was the best amateur bantamweight in the country, can anyone dispute this? And it just literally spiraled from there, know what I mean? I went pro at 17, signed for Cage Warriors, won the FCC belt, won the Cage Warriors belt. It all blew up, filled the echo out, and then now we're finally where I belong, finally in the UFC.
And what age was you when you first walked into Next Gen, when you first met Paul Rimmer? Who was on the mats back then, and was it always with the goal of moving into MMA and the UFC, or was it originally to roll jiu-jitsu?
I got into MMA because of the UFC. Like, that was why.
Seen it on the telly,
yeah,
I want to do
that as a kid.
on the
telly, yeah. First ever fight I watched was Diego Sanchez versus Clay Guida, and he just had an absolute brawl.
Yeah.
One of my mates, Kyle Wilson, he introduced me to MMA and got me into MMA. As I say, I got right into it, and it just went from there. But I always said I want to get in the UFC. That's the end goal, and that's now it's mad because that was the goal, but now it's just the beginning. This is literally just the beginning. I didn't get kicked out of school, but I got given extended study leave. So it was literally 8 days before my first fight. I got given extended study leave, and then the next day I went in the gym, sparred. Aaron got injured, and Paul said to me, "Do you want to take his fight?" So I said, "Yeah, I do." And I can remember jogging to school on the Monday morning and selling tickets to my mates outside, and teachers going, "What are you doing? Go away, go away." Know what I mean? But yeah, from 17, I didn't even go to college. I was just training every single day, and it put me in good stead. Know what I mean? If I didn't do that, I don't know where it would be now.
Well, Paddy, here we are, Liverpool Olympia, where it all began. Your pro debut was here in 2012.
Yeah.
Nathan Thompson, I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Chicken, we called him, lad, because he nearly chickened one of the lads from the gym in the first round one time. But yeah, Nathan Thompson TKO'd him in the first round, gave him a hematoma on his head, and he tapped to strikes, I think, to be honest. Where it was funny, lad, on the replay, his opponent, his corner man walks in and puts ice on his head immediately, and he goes, "Oh," like that, and grabs his head. Oh, that's funny, you know.
First round as well?
Yeah, first round. Ground and pound. I hit him with obviously my first fight, I was allowed to throw elbows, first pro fight, and I finished it with an elbow to the head.
Do you know, on that same night, Darren Till fought as an amateur fight basically on your undercard?
Yeah, there was an OMMAC, wasn't it? So they had a few amateur fights to begin with. Yeah, funny that.
You've had some fond memories here, though. That wasn't the only fight you've had here. You've had a few. You've had loads of gym fights here as well. At one point, this was like Liverpool's version of the Royal Albert Hall. There was fights on every month. Yeah,
it was. I had 9 amateur fights in total, and 7 of them were in here. First one when I was 16, took it on a week's notice and beat a 24-year-old on decision. And then it just went from there. So I had 7 amateur fights in here, and then my first 3 pro fights in here before I signed for Cage Warriors. When I was a kid, when I was like 15, when I first got into MMA, I started doing YouTube prediction videos on the UFC. And some people still are in touch with me from then and say to me, like, one of them got on me a couple of months ago and was like, "I can remember on your prediction videos you saying one day you'll be in the UFC, and now you're there." So, as I say, wasn't a question of if I was going to get the UFC, it was when. And now I'm about to just take over it. It's going to be my show. Just like the Olympia and the OMMACs become my show, just like Cage Warriors become my show. When I had 2 fights on FCC, they became my show. Whatever show I turn up at and fight on, it becomes my show.
So, Pad, we've been to the Olympia, where it began competitively, but this is where you became a superstar, isn't it? You know, well, you don't mind me saying, this is where you became a superstar.
Yeah, this is.
Capacity crowds, massive audience, Cage Warriors Gold, Echo Arena.
Yeah, it is. It's got a different name now, but we still call it the Echo Arena. Some of the crowds in there, lad, over the years have been special. You know, I've had my highest of highs and my lowest of lows in there, because obviously I lost the world title in there. And but when I won the belt in there, lad, it was special. It was absolutely next level. Beating Johnny Frazier in there and then getting that belt was unbelievable. But then even the next time when I won in there, when I flying triangled Alexis Avidas and jumped in the crowd and went bananas with everyone, like that's also one of my favourite memories ever from me fighting career. So this holds a dear place in my heart, to be honest, the Echo Arena, it really does.
You know, people still talk about Darren Till's walkout here at the UFC, but those people didn't experience your walkout here with Cage Warriors. How did you come across the track, and why has that kind of always become your theme tune now?
Well, lad, years ago I used to come out to rap. I always religiously come out to rap. All my first 9 amateur fights coming out to rap, my first 4 pro fights, then I lost. And at the time I was going out partying all the time, and they were the type of songs that I always used to listen to, house music. And like, that was just a song that I really liked, Lethal Industry, but it never dropped into a good song. It goes a bit stale. So I just got Ann Chandler, who former Garland's DJ, used to come to the gym and said to him, "Lad, do you want to mix these 2 songs together for me?" So it's basically my own remix, you know what I mean? He put the 2 songs together for me, and lad, when I walk out in there with that on, lad, it goes off. Like, it's special, lad, it really is. That's why when we eventually do Anfield, coming out of there with that song, lad, it's gonna be next level, lad. Like, people aren't gonna be ready for that entrance. When I come out of Lethal Industry and the heads roll. I bet you there's a few fans here, the 10,000 that would turn up regularly to watch you, that are a bit devastated they're not going to see that UFC debut with you having to go to Vegas. Yeah. You must have had a few phone calls. How can I get there, lad? How can I get on a plane? I've had major. The worst one's me boxing coach, Chris Williams, can't even come because 2 of his lads are fighting, having boxing matches 2 weeks later. So he can't even come. He tried to come Friday to Sunday and just come and watch, but he can't even come. When I got my sheet for, no, you've got to write your country down, I wrote Liverpool, Merseyside. And then
Scout's not English, see?
Yeah, and then when I got sent back to me saying you can't do that, I put the Scouse Republic of Liverpool. And then they said, no, you can't have that. And then I even asked if I could say I was Dutch, so I could wear orange shorts, because I've had to pick red, white or black. But obviously I've had to say England. But I'm going to ask Bruce Buffer himself when I'm there. I'm going to say, hey, Bruce, any chance of saying Liverpool, Merseyside, not Liverpool, England? Because I'm not a woollyback.
We've done the Olympia, we've done the Echo Arena. You know where we're going next. And now we're on hallowed turf, we're at Anfield, and surely this is where the journey will end.
This is where we're gonna finish up. Like, this is where we're gonna fill out, lad. And I know we are. I can see it already in my future. We're gonna have a cage in the middle of this pitch in 1 July, 1 August when the season's finished. Well, June, July when the season's finished. We're gonna have Anfield packed out, lad. Every seat filled, all the grass with seats on, and the cage in the middle, lad. And I'll be lifting a world title in the middle of there. I know for a fact I will. I've seen it in my future already.
I know the season's just started now, and I know you're an avid fan. You're at as many home games as you can get to, but do you allow yourself when you come to the ground to sit there and think, that's where the cage is going to be, that's where I'm going to walk from, the music's going to come out of these speakers?
The last time I was here was that horrible night against Atletico Madrid, you know what I mean? And even that night I was looking in the middle thinking, this is what it would be like, because it's a night, you know what I mean? It'd be like this. The UFC is one in the night so we can get pay-per-view numbers in, so that's what it'd be like. And just the roar of the ground, lad, anyone who fought me in there, it wouldn't even be a contest, because the noise what the fans would make, would make them absolutely crumble before I even laid a hand on them.
Do you put a goal on it? Is it a matter of fights? Is it a time? You know, where are we? Are we 2 years away from this? Are we 3 years away? Are we 4 years away? Because you're the young lads, there's no big rush.
I don't mind. It can be in a year's time or it can be 10 years' time. I just know it's going to happen. And I don't put a time frame on anything, because if I would have been in the UFC 5 years ago when I first got offered. But I don't put time frames on anything. I don't want to. I don't want to restrict myself with time limits and that. I don't need to. As you say, I'm still a young lad. I've still got at least another 10 years of fighting in me. And over them 10 years, we will fill this stadium out with fight fans. We will. It's coming. It's happening. I know it's going to happen. It's that simple. Like I've said before, I'll say it again. It's my destiny. I've seen it in my future. I'll be holding a world title up in the middle of a UFC cage in that arena. Anfield, the mecca for Liverpool fans.
And for that night, for one night only, will we drop the Scouse House and go with You'll Never Walk Alone, or...?
Oh, we'll have You'll Never Walk Alone, sung by Jamie Webster, into Lethal Industry. Yeah,
I like it.
Into it, lad, into it. So it'll go from You'll Never Walk Alone with Jamie singing it, right into Lethal Industry, and heads will roll.
Sign me up, can't wait.